Lindsey, I'm a crochet designer and editor from the Cotswolds in the UK, and this is my video podcast all about crochet. You can find me as Lottie and Albert most places on the internet. I'm especially active on Instagram. You can also find me on Etsy, Ravelry and my blog as Lottie and Albert. As I said, this is my video podcast all about crochet and crafts. I've got no less than 2 giveaways to tell you about this week. I'm also going to be chatting about works in progress, new things, unfinished objects, and yeah, just generally catching you up on what I've been up to, finding out a bit about what you've been up to. A very warm welcome if you are watching for the first time, and a very warm welcome back if you are a returning viewer. If you do enjoy the podcast today, please feel free to leave me a comment or hit like or subscribe, and you will then be able to be notified of when I next release a video. Coming up at the end of this podcast, I also have a giveaway for 2 copies of this wonderful Amigurumi book. So stay tuned to the end if you want to enter that. I'm going to be giving away 2 copies on here and also 2 copies on my Instagram. So yeah, that'll be coming up towards the end. I filmed that introduction about 6 times today. Just was not happening for me. I also want to apologise if I'm squinting at you because it's really bright. Obviously I have to start by talking about the weather. It's actually spring, if not even summery now here in the UK, which makes me very happy. Notwithstanding the fact that it's about 20 something degrees, I'm going to start with some finished objects, one of which is seasonally appropriate, the other is definitely not. Shall we start with the knot? Now, I actually had this finished on the last episode and completely forgot to show it to any of you, because I don't really know what happened there. But if you watched 2 episodes ago, you may remember I was having a little bit of a headache with a certain hat, and this is it. And as you can see, it is now finished. This is the hat that looks humongous, but when you put it on, it does fit. It's a bit on the slouchy side, but that's okay. We can work with that. And it's got a lovely £1 pound store pom-pom on it. So, when I last showed you this hat, see I'm playing with my hair already, sorry about that. When I last showed you this hat, I had gotten to about this part and then I frogged it and done it again. I thought that I would try and work it in just a square rectangle and then gather it. I haven't really secured this pom-pom on properly, but that wasn't working for me either, and you guys were so helpful. A couple of people said or just gave suggestions about how to finish it or how to make it work for me and what I wanted it to do, because I couldn't work out the decreases and this pattern. It was just too much of a headache. So what I ended up doing was stopping this section of the repeat here and then gathering in these sections, which was still a little bit of a headache, but much easier. I've made this using 2 Rowan yarns, which I got in somebody's D-stash. I believe they are Rowan Kid Classic. I will put all the descriptions for everything in the description box below. So yeah, Rowan Kid Classic. And I really enjoyed working with this yarn. I haven't worked with it before. I can't remember off the top of my head, I don't have the ball band, what the fibre content is. But I did talk about it in episode 20, and I will also put it below. So yeah, as I said, this is the unseasonal one, in case you hadn't guessed. But I'm really happy with it, and I shared it online, and it received so much love. I was kind of surprised. It is crochet, even if it doesn't look like crochet. It is front post trebles, and because everybody showed it so much love, I have decided to write the pattern up, and I have been working on that the last couple of weeks. I also mentioned when I posted it on my Instagram that it was probably lucky it was only ready now in April, because it probably take me, see what I mean, about the pom-pom not being sewed on. It'll probably take me another 9 months just to work out the grading, and by which I mean working out how you could make this in a child's size, how you can make it in a baby size, because even just this pattern to work out gave me a bit of a headache. But the actual stitches, if you can colour change from a yarn A to a yarn B, and if you can do a front post treble, which you may have done if you've ever done any cables, you're basically working around the front of the stitch below rather than into the top of the V of the stitch below. If you can do those two things, then you can make this hat. But I thought the grading would be terrible. Just a headache, because it's a set pattern, it has a certain number of repeats. And then some more helpful people on Instagram, you lot are full of helpful suggestions, gave me an idea, because lots of people just said, don't bother with grading it, just do it as a one size hat. And then it occurred to me that this yarn is Aran weight. So what I could suggest to people in the pattern is adult size in Aran weight, and then child size in DK. Can you see what's happening here? And then I've just got a pile of yarn in my lap. It's very early stages, but baby size in 4-ply. And then I give myself a little pat on the back because I felt quite proud of that very obvious discovery. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write up this pattern. I don't know when I'm going to release it, because does anybody want to buy a hat pattern in April or May? Maybe people in the Southern Hemisphere do. Let me know. But I'm going to write up that pattern, and I am going to let people know what size using DK yarn will come out and what size using 4-ply will come out. This one is going to have a brim. I've made him in a slightly backwards way. Look, this is honestly just what happens. I've got crochet hooks attached to everything. I don't work in a very organised way, as you can tell. He is going to have a brim, and I thought that I would also include in the pattern the option for a big turn down brim. Because quite a few of you said that you thought that would be a good addition to the hat. So yeah, this is what we're calling child size. I worked this in DK yarn. I actually worked this in a cotton. I don't know why I did that. I don't think it's the best material. It's already quite a heavy fabric because it's the front post trebles, and so they almost overlap every row below. It works up. This is what the inside looks like, in case anyone's interested. It works up in a really dense fabric just by nature of the stitch, and making it out of cotton has probably not helped that situation, but it was a new cotton that I had, and I thought it would be nice to try it. So that's what happened there. And then these yarns. This is a really lovely Rico yarn I've been sent. It's a mohair and it's bright pink. And then I've paired it with, I can't even remember what makeup fibre it is, but it's a yarn I bought last year when I was on holiday in Bude, from Coastal Yarns, who are based in Bude in Cornwall. And I used this for my Hotel of Bees shawl. I don't know if anybody remembers, and I had a little bit left. So that's what I'm treating as my 4-ply for the small version in the mohair. All fuzzy and lovely. I feel like this is going to be so cute when it's finished, but I appreciate that it's showing you this little strip. Doesn't show you much. So that is my main finished object, and also one of my whips, but I couldn't really separate them out. My hat, my nameless hat. I reversed the light and dark for this one, which I kind of wish I hadn't done, because it just actually made following my own chart even harder. But yeah, let me know what you think. I did get lots of love for it on the podcast last time, so hopefully you'll be pleased to hear the pattern is coming to you soon. for summer. The second finished object that I have to show you, this is what was inside the hat. I was basically using the hat itself as a project bag. Inside, Rowan Summerlite DK was what I was using for the cotton one. The next finished object that I have to show you is a little bit more seasonal. Are you ready? It is, in case you're wondering, a pom-pom crown, a monstera leaf pom-pom crown, no less. If you do follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this already. I made this from some Hobbycraft yarns that I was sent. So I am an ambassador, a Knitcraft ambassador for Hobbycraft, which means basically that when they get new yarns, they send me them to try and also create patterns out of, which then are all free on their blog, and I add as freebies to check and see if my neighbours are there, to my blog too. So again, 2 weeks ago I showed you these little leaves, but I didn't tell you what they were going to be. Somebody commented and said that they thought that I was going to make a bikini or pants out of them. That's not something you will see. You'll be pleased to hear on this podcast. No, I made a big pom-pom crown instead. This is the Knitcraft cotton blend range. It's one of their own yarns. And they had 3 new colours which they had released, which were the green, the green. I'm a great ambassador. I'll sell these yarns to you. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I think the new ones were the purple, the green and the mustard. And then these 2 colours, the light pink and the coral, were ones that were already in their range from last year. So I combined them because I wanted a bit of a like fun, jazzy rainbow. And I actually put this pattern up on my blog this week. So you can go there and check it out, or you can go directly to the Hobbycraft website and check it out because it is on their blog too. Yeah, so it's really quick to make because it's basically 3 giant pom-poms, and then I've made a leaf each from each of the colours. And what I've got them on is just a fabric hairband, which I got from Claire's Accessories. UK viewers might appreciate that reference. It's basically like a really teeny boppery place to go and buy hair accessories and jewellery if you're aged approximately 10 to 14. That's where I got mine from, because I wanted a fabric one so that I had the option to sew the pom-poms through the hairband if I wanted to. I basically ended up tying mine on, but as you can see they are slightly movable, so it depends how rigid you want yours. But this is what I'm counting as my next finished object. I am enjoying how bright and jazzy it is. I posted a picture of my birthday wearing this, but honestly I think you could just wear this about the house because it brightens up my day. That is my second finished object. I am trying to get more organised. I basically do a free pattern for Hobbycraft every month, and I'm slowly but surely getting them up on my own blog too because I want to share. I want to share what I'm doing and what I'm working on, and I think that it's nice to do a mix of free and paid for patterns. So that's an example of a free one, and it's pretty much my only other finished project of that kind. I did mention last time, 2 weeks ago, that I had finished my knit version of the rainbow blanket. If you're a first time viewer, I would say 95% a crocheter and 5% a knitter. Not even that really, but I've got a crochet version of this blanket. I really wanted to try a knit one. I did talk about it at length on the last podcast, but I just wanted to tell you 2 things about it. One is that the pattern is now live in my Etsy store, so this is a paid for pattern. in all its pom-pommy glory. And the second is I'm currently running a giveaway on my Instagram page. I was going to say channel then, my Instagram page, for, you may have noticed, a kit with a yarn bundle and then a pattern to make this. So you can choose, if you're the winner, from either the knit version or the crochet version, and you will also receive this pastel yarn pack, which will be enough to make a blanket roughly this size. This is a scrappy version. As you can see, I used all different kinds of yarns that I had left, but 6 balls will get you a blanket that's around 80 centimetres by 90 centimetres. So if you fancy entering that giveaway, that, as I said, is happening over on my Instagram, and you just have to be following me and go and comment on the post, and then you will be entered into the draw to win the yarn pack and either the knit or the crochet pattern, depending on your preference. Just everything at the moment is making me so happy. I think it's because the sun is shining and I'm a very fair weather person. These colours, this flower, these pom-poms, and this crown. Right now, I'm in my happy place. Honestly, I'm really sorry if you're a first-time viewer watching this today, because I'm a little bit hyper from the sun, possibly. So yeah, I'm counting this as a sort of finished object in that I've now finished the pattern and it's up on my Etsy. Give it a little bit of a plug. The pattern, if you are a beginner knitter, which I basically am, has got photo tutorials for how to cast on, how to do a knit stitch, how to do a purl stitch, and how to cast off. If you were an experienced knitter, you will know that this is a really basic blanket pattern. You probably might not even class it as a pattern, but if you've never worked with 6 strands of DK before, I think it's really helpful to have instructions of how to use that, and yeah, if you fancy checking out, it's there. The only other thing that I'm going to count in my finished object category this week is I hosted on my Instagram a live conversation with Mandy of Crochet by Red Agape, and we had the most fun half-hour, 40-minute chat. I did manage to record a version of it despite a few technical difficulties, and that version is now on my YouTube channel. So if you normally watch the podcast, then you should be able to find it on my YouTube channel, and you can find out more about Mandy. She's obviously a bit of a crochet superstar. She's got something like 206,000 followers on Instagram, but she is honestly one of the most genuine, just happy-go-lucky people, and she really cares about craft. She started the craft as therapy hashtag, and she's very big into, you know, crafting to make yourself happy. And I think that just really comes across when you talk to her. She's just such a happy person and very genuine, which I think is partly why she has such a big following. Her makes are really bright and fun, and she did share in the talk we had some tips about good photography and how to maybe boost your Instagram following if that is something that you are interested in. So go and check it out. And also, if you are interested in more creative conversations, I've got a few more planned. I'm going to do them every other week. So I'm going to do a podcast every other week, and then hopefully, if it works out, the week I'm not podcasting, I'll be doing a creative conversation with another maker or designer over on my Instagram, and then I will always try and put that video on my YouTube as well. So if you only follow me on YouTube, then don't worry, you should still be able to catch them. But if you want to watch them live and comment and interact, which is also quite fun, then yeah, keep an eye on my Instagram, because that's the platform that I'm using to talk to people through their live functionality. So yeah, counting that in the finished object thread too. Works in progress wise, I showed you my currently nameless hat that I'm working on in the different sizes. And I also have another hat. Apparently it's all about the headgear this week, which again I did talk about last week. This is a little bit embarrassing for me as a British person. I realise that people watch from various places in the world, but if you've ever spent any time in Britain or if you know any English people, you may realise that we can sometimes be a little bit awkward. Also, we really like to apologise, and complaining is a bit of a mixed bag. We kind of like to complain, but we don't really complain to people's faces. I think it's fair to say that we kind of complain behind people's backs and then are just sort of very awkwardly polite to people's faces. I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong. I'm sure there are people who are watching who are English and maybe you do not feel that way. But I think it's fair to say that that's quite a British thing. So, when I reviewed the Wool and the Gang Worn This Way hat last episode, I was a little bit critical of their pattern because my gauge had come out so much off, and because there were a few mistakes and spelling mistakes in the pattern. Now, it was fully my intention to get back to my contact at Wool and the Gang and feed that back to them in a very polite and appropriate way. It did not occur to me that they might actually watch the podcast and see my very honest review of the pattern, which I do still stand by. If you watched last episode, you will have seen me talking about my Rara Raffia Worn This Way hat, which this is not finished and I haven't done any more of it yet. And I was honest in my paper. That's not their fault, that's just my rubbish. I was honest in my review, but when they then emailed me and said, thank you so much for your honest review, we really appreciate it. We fed back your notes to our design team, etc, etc. I felt so embarrassed. I'm going to be equally honest now and say I felt really embarrassed because I didn't feel that that was a professional way for me to feed back to them on my pattern, and then I started panicking that I'd been too rude or too critical. I did say a lot of nice things still about Wool and the Gang and how much I loved their branding and packaging and what they were doing for modern crochet and knitting patterns. Yeah, but they watched it. But on the plus side, they watched it and they have fed back to their design team. And then the design team even left a comment on my podcast thanking me for my feedback and for pointing out the things I pointed out. So I want to give them fair dues and say I was actually quite impressed with the fact that they got back to me so quickly and the fact that they listened and fed that information back to the relevant people. So thanks, Wool and the Gang, if you're watching again. And sorry for being so terribly un-British and complaining and then getting embarrassed that I'd complained. Make of that what you will, honestly. So that's one of my works in progress, is my Wool and the Gang Worn This Way Rara Raffia collection hat. Now that the sun is shining, I am determined to make the pattern work for me and to have my raffia hat, because I've got a really nice idea for like pom-poms, and I've got a skirt that I haven't worn yet that I feel like will make a perfect outfit. So it's gonna happen. It's still a current work in progress, and I thought I'd update you all on the embarrassment that I encountered having seen that. Not least because I also shared on my stories, a couple of people sent me a picture after last podcast. Wool and the Gang just happened to share this really beautiful like lifestyle shot, but it was a woman lying on a beach like almost entirely covered by a hat. And so many people sent it to me saying, this is what your hat will be like because it covered her body. I'll see if I can put a picture of Anna Credit in here and you can all have a laugh. I thought that was quite funny and I shared it on my stories, but again, I then felt like I'd been really unprofessional. Nobody's ever going to want to work for me again, are they? Anyway. Other works in progress. I'm still working on my giant knitted blanket using wrapping paper as my knitting needles. If you watched last time, you'll have seen that. And I am still working on my crochet between the lines shawl. I didn't bring it down to show you because honestly I've done like that much on it, but my rows are so long now that it takes me a long time just to do a couple of rows. But I'm on the home straight, nearly there. Might still, I mean, this warm weather won't stick around, so I'll definitely get some spring wear out of it yet. And as ever, I also have oodles of other works in progresses going on, but the main one is the hats, the 2 hats that I showed you. Very swiftly moving on to new things, because I've been very fortunate in the last couple of weeks that if you can hear that beeping, it's my washing machine, sorry about that. I've been very fortunate in the last couple of weeks in that I have had lots of lovely things sent to me. One of which was just, it's not somebody that I'm working with or a company or anything. It's just a really lovely person who's done it off their own back. So I was talking to Bruna. I'm so sorry if that's not how you pronounce your name. On Instagram, because she messaged me to say that she'd bought my rainbow blanket pattern, but that she was going to have to wait something like 3 weeks for her 20mm hook to arrive. She's based in Portugal and she'd ordered it from, I don't know where she'd ordered it from actually, but I was commiserating with her over the fact that it was going to take a couple of weeks to arrive, and she was talking about living in Portugal, and she said, have you ever used any Portuguese yarn? And I said, not that I'm aware of. I don't think I have. And she really kindly offered to send me some because she's a sweetheart. So I received in the post from her a little pack of Portuguese yarn brand, which in hindsight, I feel like I should have said no to, just by the fact that I always embarrass myself by pronouncing foreign words in an equally British, embarrassing way because I don't speak any languages. So this is we're just going to say Rosarius 4, and that is apparently a Portuguese yarn brand. She sent me, I love this one. It feels like a cotton. It says it's eco-friendly. Yeah, it's 100% cotton. And I think it's a chunky. It calls for 8 to 9mm hooks. And it's this really lovely kind of calico colour with flecks of yellow and orange. I love me a variegated or a spackly yarn, so that is gorgeous. I've got this really fun bright red colour, clearly vibing the red today, and 2 balls of this stripy. It looks like it's a really nice, oh, it says it's hypoallergenic. It's got a picture of a baby on it. 85% acrylic and 15% polyamide. Really interesting to see how this works up in stripes, and it's got like blues and browns and greens in it. So thank you so much, Bruna. She also sent a little pack of buttons in really fun colours. I think that my little girl is going to love playing with that. There's like a bunny and stars and a bell and all sorts. I don't like to just receive things for free necessarily. I always like to do swaps. So in return, I sent her a 20mm hook, which hopefully will have arrived a little quicker than the 2 to 3 weeks one. I mean, I realise now as I'm saying that means she's going to end up with 2 20mm hooks, but never mind. I feel like I've done a swap. And yeah, really looking forward to trying out those Portuguese yarns and reporting back. So thank you so much. That's really sweet. I've obviously messaged her as well, but I just thought I'd mention it on here too. I have also received some more yarn, which is really exciting, from Renee and Bert. Now, Renee and Bert, if you haven't heard of them, just rustle my packaging. Also, this really nice card. I love this. She sent me Becca from Renee and Bert. See, I actually didn't know her name until I just realised it's on the back of this card, because I looked on her Instagram and I looked on her blog and I read the about section, and she hasn't got her name anywhere on the internet. Her name is Becca, because I've just found it on the back of this card. She approached me and asked me if I would like to try out some of her yarns. But the really unusual thing about Becca's yarns is they are all handmade fabric yarns. If you have watched the podcast before, you will know that I love slightly different or unusual yarns, and so I immediately said yes, I would love to try some of her yarns. She is really focused on sort of slow fashion and sustainable fashion, and yeah, she calls herself a zero waste brand. So these I am really looking forward to using. I have made my own t-shirt yarn in the past, but I should have brought it down. I made like a market bag, and I cut the dress up to do that, and it felt really satisfying because it was a dress I loved, but it wasn't really like I'd had it for 4 or 5 years. It was a maxi dress in jersey, and that made really good t-shirt yarn that I managed to then make into a bag. So I'm having a little think, because I want to do Becca's yarns justice, about what I might make out of these sustainable yarns. So all of her sort of fabric balls are unique and different because she's using found textiles and materials from other sources. So yeah, go and check out her site and have a little look. She just listed an amazing like neon pink and black and white number. And it looks as though that her blog is under development. She mentions that she's going to have more posts coming soon about sustainable living, also how we can reduce textile waste, and yeah, just generally try and be a bit cleaner and happier world. That didn't make any sense. How we can, you know, make a difference of what you're using. I have to confess, I do not think much when I'm buying yarns, such as acrylic yarns, about the impact that they are having on our planet. People are becoming increasingly aware of plastics and the impact that plastics are having, not least because of the David Attenborough Blue Planet recently, which really highlighted what a state some of our oceans are in. But yarn-wise, it never really crosses my mind that actually, if I'm using acrylic yarns, and certain, you know, processes involved in creating those more man-made fibres, there are actually impacts on the environment. So I feel really good about using these, and hopefully I can, yeah, do them justice and think of something fun. I've already got a few ideas. So thank you so much, Becca, if you are watching, from Renee and Bert. And again, I'll put the links to everything I'm talking about in the description box below. That's another new thing that I have received. And then last but not least, I also just wanted to share, she to the point that she doesn't throw anything away. If yarn scraps are too small to be used in balls of yarn, she uses them in her packaging. Isn't that even just like a pretty little tie? Last but not least, you may have noticed when I held up my hat that it had a small addition to it, which is a little label that says Lottie and Albert. I was contacted by Happy Label Shop, who asked me if I would like to try some of their leather labels. I have always wanted my own labels. I realise as I'm talking it makes it sound like people are basically just offering me free stuff all of the time. That is not entirely the case, although I do seem to have had a run of very lovely people sending me things recently. So I said yes. I don't actually have a Lottie and Albert label, partly because I'm never sure if this is like a hobby or a business, but it's somewhere in between, really. I don't have a label because I don't really make and package and sell and send stuff out. I pretty much just talk to you guys on here. I've got my Instagram account and I've got my Etsy shop where I list patterns as and when I get round to writing them up. But I'm not a fully fledged business. I don't have like a big business account or branding or anything like that. So she has a little option on the Happy Label shop, which just allows you to put text in. So I just chose a font which I thought was a bit fun, and she sent me these labels. So I've got two types. These are like I don't even know what the technical term is, but like a sort of clip-on version. So quite good for going around the edges of blankets or hats, as I did with this one. And then these are a sew-on variety. These ones are printed, and these ones are, I think, debossed is the official term for something like that, isn't it? And I think I've even got two colours here. Yeah, so we've got a darker version and a lighter version. But I now feel totally more professional. Don't they make things look more professional? I mean, having ends that aren't sewn in doesn't, I realise that, but just think it really finishes it off. So I'm well chuffed with those. Happy Label Shop are actually based in the Ukraine or Russia, but they have got free international shipping at the moment. They didn't pay me to say that, but I just thought I'd let you know in the most awkward way possible, apparently. New things. Does that bring me to the end of the new things? Yeah, I've just been spoiled. Thank you so much, Bruna and Becca and Happy Label Shop. Without further ado, before I ramble and you totally lose interest, I have a giveaway that I mentioned. Now, I gave away some books a little while ago, and this is the same publisher, Meteoor Books. They are also, if you know them on Instagram, amigurumipatterns.net. So Amigurumi Patterns, Meteoor Books. They have released this new book, it's Amigurumi 7, which presumably means there are 6 others of these. So you probably are very familiar with them if you're a big Amigurumi fan. 15 cute Amigurumi patterns by 11 great designers. It's got instructions for all the crochet stitches, and here are some of the adorable people featured inside. I love the llama. Let me see if I can find the llama for you. And also this mallard duck, who is pretty adorable. How cute is he? Mallard duck. As I said, they're by all sorts of different designers. Patchwork Muse, DIY Fluffies, Moji Moji Design, Hello Yellow Yarn. So yeah, those are different people. I mean, this hamster is so cute. Oh, I can't find the one thing I was trying to show you. I probably should have had the page marked. Oh, here we go. It would have been slightly more professional. Get this little llama. Is he a llama or an alpaca? He's a llama. He's a llama. And it's full colour with full step-by-step instructions, which is pretty impressive, if I do say by myself. So I actually have 4 copies of this book to give away. So I'm going to do 2 copies through this channel, through YouTube, and I'm also going to do a giveaway for 2 copies through my Instagram. So all you need to do, if you would like to win one of these 2 copies on here, is be following me, because I would like it to be a sort of thank you to my subscribers and everybody who, you know, is supporting me on here and over the last year. Yeah, you just need to be following me and then leave a comment in the comment section below about who you would like to make one of these for, or if it's just yourself, that's okay. Maybe you've got somebody in mind. Just leave me a comment about the book and Amigurumi. You can even just say, I would like to be entered. That's fine. If you don't feel inspired, or you can say, oh my goodness, my grandson loves chickens, I need to make him a chicken, he would go mad for a chicken. Or you might want to make this giant elephant but use super chunky yarn so that he comes out this big. I highly recommend that. Look at this little lion. So yeah, all you need to do, be following me and leave a comment below related to the book or the giveaway. That's all you need to do. And I will enter you into my draw, and I will draw the winner on the next podcast in 2 weeks' time. If you're interested in buying the book because you just can't wait, then I believe it goes on sale on the 1st of May. My next podcast should be on the 5th of May when I draw the winner. So you will receive it pretty much at the same time that it's going out on publication. So yeah, that's about it. That's my giveaway. If you want to enter the other giveaway for the yarn, then that is happening over on my Instagram. And that is enterable on my Instagram. If you want to enter these books, then comment below. Is that too many giveaways? I'm also nearly hit 3,000 subscribers or followers or subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is really exciting. And I was thinking that I need to do a giveaway for that too, like giveaway central. But we like to share the crochet love. Yeah, that really does pretty much bring me to the end. I am sorry if I've lost the plot slightly at the end of this video and gotten really rambly. You are used to it if you've watched before. Let's hope one in the gang aren't watching again, hey? Meteoor Books, if you're watching, I'm really sorry. I love your books. Oh, that was actually one of the things I wanted to say. When I was talking to Mandy from Crochet by Red Agape, I still can't say it right. Her book is coming out in, I think it goes on pre-sale in May, and then that means you can get the PDF copy. And then the actual book is going on sale in August. And guess who her publisher is? Meteoor Books. So, fingers crossed, we might even be able to get some copies of Mandy's book. That would be exciting. But for now, if you fancy a Amigurumi 7, hit me up and I'll sort you out. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Yeah, thank you for making it to the end if you are still watching. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully some of you might be interested in yarn giveaway or book giveaway or pattern or head pattern. There's lots going on here at the moment, probably why I'm so frazzled. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again in 2 weeks here on YouTube or on Instagram if you want to catch up before then. If you have enjoyed watching, then please like and subscribe, and then you'll get notifications of any more podcasts or also any more creative conversations with designers and makers that I've got coming up. Thanks so much. See you all soon. Bye bye.